welcome to another Cooking with the Cool Dad. Today, and I apologize, this is coming out later in the day on Monday, but because I decided to make it for dinner, timing, it's all timing. Today we're doing a little bit different. Once again, we're expanding our repertoire here. Today we're doing steaks on the grill with grilled roasted potatoes as well. Now, because of having to put things together beforehand, you may see a couple of outfit changes. Couldn't do it all at once. The steaks have been marinating for close to 24 hours at this point, so I actually filmed that part of it last night. You'll see some differences. But anyway, we're getting ready to make some damn good dinner. So let's have some fun. You're going to see me, I'm going to get stuff ready to go on the grill shortly, and we'll get it on the grill and we'll work our way through it. So let's get to it. Okay, got the steak here that we picked up, which is going to be marinated. Well, some is going to be marinated, some is going to be put away for later. But let's do the ones I'm going to marinate first. First, I wash my hands at this point. I'm going to, I know I forgot to grab fork. And a cutting board. So I'm going to marinate two steaks actually. Because I just realized how thick they were. Because we're making some good steak. I'm going to take the fork. And some people call it tenderizing. Some people have different. I just say I'm forking it, you know. I like forking my meat. What can I say? There's just something about it. You get frustrated with life, frustrated with COVID, fork your meat, man. Go fork your meat. Okay. So what I find this does is it allows the whatever marinade or seasoning you're doing to get more in there and really suck up that flavor. Let me see here. I'm going to grab, do some steak rub on here. Now, I'm not going to put a lot of dry ingredients on these because they're going to be marinating in liquid, but I'm just going to kind of pat that in. Flip, flip, done. No, just kidding. There was a time when you spend, now, you know, I won't even go into why I like my meat cooked a little bit more these days, but sensitive stomachs would have a hard time with that. There we go. So like I said, I'm just kind of throwing some dry seasoning on there, patting it in. Okay, so let me grab, just try to keep from getting too messy. Now, Ziploc bag, steak 1, steak 2. And again, this is more just to keep it from getting too messy. First thing I'm putting in, 3 cheese vinaigrette. I don't have a whole lot of this left, so I am just going to dump the whole bottle in there. Garlic, cloves, and everything. There's my garlics right there. I also have some balsamic vinaigrette, which is light, which I don't know what makes it light, but hey, the flavor's still good. I've had this one before, so I know the flavor's good on it. If I can open it, note to self, open your containers ahead of time. Let's see. There we go. Good. I just want to make sure there's enough in there and get a pretty solid covering of all my meat. I like my meat to be covered when I'm marinating it. Push out most of the air, and bam, there we go. So, now that it's in here, I want to make sure that they're not stacked on top of each other. I'm just going to kind of mush them around. See, I got the little cloves of garlic here. I'm going to kind of squish them up a little bit so I can get all that flavor just running through there. I want as much flavor in these as possible when I throw them on the grill. There we are. Mushed up nice. Okay, now a little more tenderizing. Is this absolutely necessary? Maybe, maybe not. But you know what? You had a rough few days. Fuck it. Take out some frustrations on your meat. Just beat your meat till it's comfortable. Yeah, never mind. Sorry, little innuendo there. Okay. Now, what it does is you're kind of like distressing the tissue so that it's more willing to accept the marination. And because a marinade is just all around it, it actually gets in there and starts to break down the protein, and that's how the flavor gets into it. So what we're going to do, now that I've got that all done, fold them like this so they're not actually on top of each other, but still in the marinade. I'm going to pop that in the fridge. However, before I do that, I want to quick talk about, I'll move stuff out of the way first, quick talk about how to freeze steaks and such. Now what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 left, of course. So what I'm going to do is actually use a fork so I don't have to wash my hands off again. I'm going to do one single. So just going to pop it there. These next two I'm going to put 2 in. So if I feel the need to cook for 2 people, I can. Or I can just pull one out and defrost them and just pull one out of there and put it back in the freezer. Some people question that, but I've never had an issue doing that. So I have no issue saying that that's what I do. Now, once you get them in the zipper bags, the freezer bag, these are specifically freezer bags. I find you get better results freezing meat in freezer bags because you're less likely to get freezer burn over time. Now, here's the other trick. Make sure it's not in my way. I want to kind of make sure they're as close to the bottom as possible. Lay it on the side, kind of squish it down so I'm getting most of the air out. Zip it to about 1 inch away from the end. Try to squeeze out more air. Roll up the bag. When you get it rolled up so you get as much of the air out as possible. Now if you got one of those vacuum sealers, go for it. I don't, so I have to do it the old-fashioned way. And you can also, if you really want to, you can always roll it up a little bit before you do the zip. Honestly, it's whatever the mood strikes me as. Bam. And the single one I'm definitely just going to roll before I try and zip because there's just a lot of space in that bag. There we go. Now, what I do is I get the Sharpie marker and put on them what they are, what day it is, or what month and year it is, and pop them in the freezer, and we're rocking and rolling. Okay, now let's let the marinade sit, and we'll be back to cook it. Okay, for our roasted potatoes to do with our steak tonight, I've got some large yellow potatoes. A, it's what I happen to have on hand. B, they actually work pretty well, I found. So, first thing I'm going to do is start cutting. These have been pre-washed and patted dry and everything else, so they're clean. But we're going to get them up into more manageable chunks first. And these actually are going to, I use the word marinate very loosely here, for a bit before cooking too. And these are going to be cooked on the grill as well, which you'll see in the later portion of the video. Well, potatoes stay together. There we go. Now, how you cut your potatoes, entirely up to you. I just try and get them all into like manageable chunks so that when you fork them up, you can eat them properly. There we go. Now what I'm doing is just throwing them in a bowl here. I'm just, oops, bad spot. There we go. I toss the dark spots. That's me. If you like them, keep them. That's entirely up to you. I'm just separating all the chunks in the bowl. So, and again, I'm just doing 3 potatoes total.
Well, maybe less. I'll see how it looks when I get it in the bowl. Sometimes you have to just kind of have an idea who's eating and how much they'll eat and expect leftovers or not. One more. Now, notice for me, the way I'm cutting these, I slice them this way first, and I kind of go down at an angle. And I rotate and go down at an angle on the other side. It makes kind of a wedge shape, which I like for this kind of potato dish. No, these are not pre-cooked. All of the cooking is done once they're marinated, for lack of a better term, and on the grill. Round 2, potato. Gotta have some fun while you're cooking. After all, if food isn't fun, what's the point? We grow up telling our kids, or being told things like, don't play with your food, but hell, food is one of the most important things we can do. I mean, if you don't fuel the system, it's not going to work too well. If you don't put gas in your car, you can't expect to go very far. I got to do that this week too. I'm loving this 3 weeks to a tank business right now. I'd probably get more if I didn't just randomly go out for a drive now and then, but I can't sit in the house all this time. It just gets me. So yes, I occasionally will go out for a drive. It's properly social distance. You know, proper social distance there. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, sometimes it's nice just to get out and feel the car going along. There we go. So, there we are. Pop these right in. And I may... I'm going to do a third one. So we hit that point where you can't decide if you want to stick with 2 or go with 3. I'm going to go with 3 because you know what? The more the merrier. Leftovers are always your friend. It's almost like meal prepping for a week. Except I'm cooking it too. Okay. Oops. Get back in there, potato slice. I'm going to date myself, but I remember back in the day when one of the popular saying was calling people home slice. No idea where that even came from, to be quite honest with you, but leave it. I am standing on a potato chunk. God, things you never think to hear yourself say. But when you have dogs, you do things like that. There we go. So, don't worry, it'll get more exciting in a minute, folks. We're going to get into seasoning shortly. Well, I have one more thing to slice up first, which I think you can tell by looking at what's in front of the cutting board. I should have that framed properly. But we'll get to that in just a minute. Now, roasted potatoes are fun because potatoes in and of themselves don't have a whole ton of flavor, but they do soak up flavors that you add to them, which is part of the reason why I like them so much. Scooch. There we go. Okay. Rinse the hands real quick. Grab some paper towel. I'm actually just going to wipe off the cutting board because, well, it's all going in the same place. It's all going to get cooked, so it's not a big deal. It's just potato juice. And round 2-ish. I like to add a small onion to my roasted potatoes. And this is not the knife for cutting onions. There we go. So, we've talked about cutting up tomatoes, geez. Yeah, it's day 378 of quarantine. It is the 450th day of April. Now, we've gone over using corncob holders to cut onions before, but I'm not even going to worry about it today. This is a small onion, and honestly, I'm just going to dice it up anyway. So I'm just trying to get, it can fall over, oops, they can fall on my foot. Okay, that's covered for now. I'm just going to basically rock and roll the blade over this to get the pieces as small as possible, because we don't want big chunks necessarily in there. I mean, hell, if you like big chunks, go for it. But this is more about seasoning than it is about having big chunks of onion in there. So, this is why I use bleach on my countertop every time. I have a natural cleaner there too that I like for in between, but before I do any food prep, bleach the crap out of it, because why not? There we go. Now let's do some rock and roll again here. Those about to rock, we salute you. Bonus points if you know what that's from. Which band said that? There we go. There's also in a few movies that were music related as well over the years, but originally from a band though. There we go. Okay. So, nicely diced onion in there. Let's bring this over. I'm just going to kind of agitate it around with the onion. Now, extra virgin olive oil. Doesn't have to be organic. I just like this stuff for my olive oil usage. I'm going to drizzle some in there. You see, I'm just kind of shaking it around. Now, you can stir if you want to. You know what? In fact, I will do that just for y'all. Scoop, Saph. Make sure my onions aren't sticking to the side. Sapphire Rose, go. Dogs. You guys wanted them in. They're here. So I'm just going to kind of stir this all around. Make sure there's oil on all the potatoes. Onion's good. I think we're good there. Actually going to add just a little bit more. And again, I eyeball it. I've used maybe a tablespoon altogether, maybe a touch more, tablespoon and a half at most. But again, you do what works for you. That's the beauty of these things. They're ultimately customizable. Okay, now let's hit the spice rack. I'm going to start with some barbecue spice, because why not? Seems about right. And yes, I'm eyeballing it. A little bit of Oriental 5 spices. Add some of my steak rub, because that's going to tie this together with the steak. Anything else in here? Nope. Let's see, salt free. Just a touch of spicy garlic. Got a chunk in there. There we go. A little bit of spicy garlic. A dash of ground sea salt. I know, some of you are like, that's more than a dash. Considering the amount of potatoes and stuff in here, that's a dash. Now I'm just going to stir this around. You can shake, agitate it if you want. You can stir it if you want. I'm just stirring to give you guys some demonstration of that. Basically what you want to do is get this as coated as possible. Don't hate me, I'm ambidextrous. It happens. I'll tell you, there's nothing like walking onto a scene with somebody you worked with for a while and starting an IV with your offhand when they don't know that you can do that. You want to see some people get bug-eyed? That's freaking hysterical to watch, let me tell you. Okay, so the sad part is this looks like a filling for apple pie. Get that out of the way. Now, let me grab. Okay. Cut that out. Scooch. Now, through the beauty of video editing and post-production, I edited it out, picking up that piece of onion that fell and then washing my hands. You notice I splashed myself. This is grated Parmesan Reggiano. I like the stuff. I love the flavor it gives. It's good texture. I'm just going to kind of add some in there. And people look at me funny when I tell them this, but there's a reason why people like my cooking, because I add cheese. Makes my food like crack. Why? Because if you read the studies, the caseins in the cheese hit the same receptors in the brain as hard drugs do. Go figure. So, I guess that makes me a dealer, a pusher, whatever you want to call it. Don't care. One more thing to add to kind of tie this all together. Now, as you saw or will see, because I'm not really sure where I'm putting each step of this in the overall scheme of things, this is the light balsamic that I used in the marinade steak as well. I'm just going to add a couple tablespoons worth. Again, just enough to get that flavor sorting through everything. I'll switch directions once in a while. See, the problem is going to Catholic school as a kid, they don't allow you to use your left hand back in the day. So while I am ambidextrous for most things, except writing, I do tend to be a right hand dominant just because that's how I was taught. You know, Sister Mary smacks you on the hand a lot. No, just kidding. Okay, now I'm going to cover this and actually I'm literally just going to take a plate, drop it on top, and this is going to go in the fridge to sit and marinate until it's time to cook. So I'll see you in the next shot. Okay, first I got my cooking pan out, cookie tray, cooking, whatever you'd like to call it. Because my grill is just a grill, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by throwing some tinfoil on here. Most grills aren't set up for cooking things like roasted potatoes, so we have to kind of work with it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to throw some tinfoil on here, make my cleanup a little bit easier later perhaps. This is an old cookie tray, so not worried about what happens to it so much. Now I just need my tinfoil. Come on. There we go. And it doesn't matter what kind of tinfoil you use. I just happened to grab Reynolds today. Not sponsored, none of that. Just literally I was at the store and it's what they had. So I'm just going to make a nice cover for the pan with the tinfoil. And yes, some of this will probably leak through. I'll still have to wash it. It is what it is. For anybody wondering, the dogs are currently outside chilling. It's a beautiful day out. I spent some time outside myself. Okay. God, these potatoes smell good. I'm just going to start. The nice thing about doing it this way is it also allows me to be able to agitate them or stir them or flip them or whatever you'd like to call it while they're cooking. So I'm literally just going to spoon these bad boys out onto the tray. And my phone's going off. Go figure. Now, since you already saw what I did for them as far as the marinade, you get an idea where we're headed there. The point is, instead of cooking in an oven, we're going to be cooking on a grill. So these are actually going to go on before the steak goes on because they need a bit longer to properly cook. There we go. Just kind of spread them out to a nice layer here. Getting some of the marinade juice in there. I'm actually going to ladle some of that over afterwards, but there we go. Oops. Now the Parmesan and Reggiano cheese that I put on here, or Reggiano, depending on who you ask, I'm actually going to say I've got that, still plenty of that left, and I'm actually going to use some of that when they're done to kind of top them with, but we'll get to that when I get there. Okay, that's all set. Let's head to the grill. Okay, now that the grill is warmed up, we're going to actually just pop this right in here. I still got plenty of room to put the steaks on, and I'm going to bring these down from high to about 2/3. And now we wait. Okay. Now our potatoes have been cooking for a few minutes here, a bit. They're actually coming out pretty nice here. A little bit of stickage, but you know, has to be expected. So now it's time to add steaks. They've been marinating for just about 24 hours. Oh yeah. Hear that nicely. Yep, that's everything out of there. So let me just steal this bag back up so I don't spill it everywhere. And pull the tray out a little bit. Okay, now let's let this sit for a bit. And we'll be back. Okay, as you can see, everything's cooking nicely here. I have turned off these two burners. The potatoes are pretty well there. I'm going to let them cook with the heat that's in there. And meanwhile, our steaks are moving right along. So just to show you, it's only been a few minutes, but they're getting those nice sear lines on them. How you cook your steaks is entirely up to you. I have been given directions to cook one to well, and the other one I like is probably going to be closer to the range of medium, maybe a little less. We'll see. But everything's going well, so I just wanted to pop in and show you what's going on. Once I close this, the potatoes will keep cooking from the heat that's generated by the last burner over here that's cooking the steaks right now. I'll just have to pop it open every now and then so I can check the steaks and flip them when they need it. Okay, so I just brought the potatoes in. I've only got two hands, so trying to like film it and bring it in. They taste good. They're cooked. I'm not calling it a fail, but it's definitely some learning experience or some learning curve going on here. But I'm good with that, so it's definitely something I can work with. Let's go back and check. So let's see how these steaks are doing. Ooh, it smells fantastic. Now this one was the one that was requested more well done, so I did put some cuts in it to try and get it cooked all the way through in a good amount of time. This one, on the other hand, that's for me, so it doesn't have to be as well cooked. These look like they're pretty well done. So we're going to drop those on the plate. Oh yeah. Then I'm going to turn off the grill, and I'll see y'all up top for the
okay, everybody, so that is what we did today. We did steak and we did roasted potatoes on the grill. Steak is definitely good. Roasted potatoes actually are pretty damn good. Definitely some work I can put into it to try and improve them. But for the first time I'm doing it, I'd say it definitely is a win. So, okay, hold that thought for a minute. Now that we're done eating, holy shit. I'm going to tell you something. That is probably some of the best steak I have ever done. Especially, hey, get off the counter. Being on the grill, the marinade, 23-hour marinade, they said almost 24 hours, cooking it on the grill, oh, damn. Wow. Okay, and here's the thing. Those potatoes, Carter, get out of there. Those potatoes, is there room for improvement? Yes. But, holy crap, they were actually really, really, really good. I have to say, I did impress myself with this one, and I'm not patting myself on the back so hard I throw my shoulder out. But I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty impressed with how that all came out. I've never tried cooking potatoes like that on a grill before, and yeah, they're pretty good. The steak, obviously, steak is steak. You know, you cook steak, you cook steak. But I just realized too that it's been, because of life, a couple of probably 2 years plus since I've cooked on the grill, and considering it's been a while, I think it came out. It came out really well. So I'm pretty happy with how everything came out. So, you know, just want to remind everybody, food is life. Food makes everything better. Put some food down. Get your family together. Family isn't necessarily blood, but family is the people you bleed for. So put your family together. Put some good food down. Enjoy each other's company while you can. Obviously, don't have, try not to break the rules, but we need that face-to-face interaction. While you're doing it, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane during this craziness. Food fixes everything. Did I say it already? I know I did, but I'm saying it again. Get together, have some good times with your friends and family and people you care about. Until then, until next week, when I come up with another crazy idea to do for y'all, remember, everybody has that potential to be absolutely amazing and just awesome in their life. Sometimes it just takes a few little changes, a few little tweaks to things. And all this time we got our hands right now is, well, around here, things are starting to slowly open up again, but a lot of people still have plenty of time on their hands. So think about what you can do. Think about those changes you can make. Let's just be awesome. Be kind to one another. Be awesome. Love the people you care about. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.